Hey there, welcome to another episode of Fans of Motion, the Ultimate Night Ranger podcast. Joining me and the Florida man, Dave Nadelman, are these two individuals below me. Now, listen, they look like mere mortals here, but really they've been telling the story of these outrageous galaxy adventures named Metal Warrior. But us earthly beings, know them as, hey, look at that. Know them as Keri Kelli and Greg Koch. Keri, Greg, how you guys doing? Thank you for spending time from protecting the five galaxies and all that stuff
Oh
and
yeah,
joining
man.
us.
We're doing great, brother. Thank you for having us here, man. I'm broadcasting live in front of your naked, steaming eyes here from Evolve Brewing in Las Vegas, and Greg is in.
I am on the road in San Diego on the way to a pre-release event for the record in downtown San Diego, associated with Comic Con. And yeah, you're right, Joshua. We got to defend the galaxies, for righteousness with Metal Warrior.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if I was going to have to defend the galaxies from, the five galaxies, I don't know if Keri Kelli would be on my list of the first people I'd call. It's like,
Okay,
uh,
I got to just jump right in defense of his, wide level of prowess. I mean, if you need to have some enemy's face melted off with, guitar riffs, who else would you call?
Exactly. Who
Really?
else are you going to call?
Yeah.
well,
I
I
think
guess
you're
you're,
right.
I guess you're right. I mean, or I guess you could use, we could call Levy and get some keyboard riffs in there too. But
Oh, we have very little keyboards, if anything, on this. It's a real rock record.
I will say this, this you sent me these links, I don't know, probably a year or so ago. You didn't send anything with it. Now, me and Keri will send some music back to each other, different bands that we've heard, and I think I sent you something that sounded like The Cure once, and
Oh
you're
yeah.
like, what's this? And so it wasn't surprising to get something Metal Warrior. I had no idea who it was, and listened to him like, dude, this is really good shit. Who is this? And then I never hear back from you. And it's just like, oh, okay, whatever. And then finally the information, leaks out and comes out. And so let's start, everybody, this is a Night Ranger podcast. Y'all know who Keri Kelli is. He's the guy that's probably, hitting you in the head with guitar picks 3 or 4 times during the show. For those that don't know, his partner in crime here in the Metal Warrior project is Greg Koch. Greg is the co-founder of Stone Brewing. And, I don't know what else you've been doing besides the Stone Brewing and the Metal Warrior. Uh, Greg, how did you and Keri cross paths?
Is this our official meet cute story, as they call it?
Yes. How did you guys get that twinkle in each other's eyes for each other?
It was a very long time ago. Greg can kind of tell the story if he would like, but our first meeting, it was like, I don't know, 35 years ago. You could tell the story, Greg.
Well, yeah, every bit, 35. Yeah. So I built in downtown LA, opened up at the very end of 1989, music rehearsal studio facility. And it turns out, a band that KK was playing with was a tenant there. We maybe barely met, because frankly, KK wasn't the one signing the rent checks. So when it was that time of the month, I wasn't going to him for the rent check. So
We
I
were
don't think
trying,
we
we
have
were trying
a
to
strong.
avoid, yeah, we were trying to avoid Greg. It was like the rent's due. I'm like hiding.
Now, KK, you tell me, what do you have any real recollection of me in that time?
Yeah, no, I think we had a couple of little run-ins here and there. I mean, we just knew that you were the owner of the facility. And when we say this facility, Josh, it's still going in downtown LA. Uh, and I think Greg had two of them down there at one point, but it's like a 5-story type of a building thing, and you've got like 20 rooms on every floor, and bands would rent them out for the month. You know what I mean? So you'd pay your whatever it was, I don't even know, $300 a month or 400, and you can go there and rehearse at any time of the day. But yeah, I wasn't the one paying the money usually. I mean, we had to try to find money, scrape money from any stripper we can get it from or whatever it was back.
Nice.
But our bass player was actually the one that would typically be the one that they would track down and do it. But basically, that was our original contact. And then later on, about I don't know, 16 or 17 years ago or something, we reconnected more on the craft beer front. Greg would tell us a little bit of his story if he'd like, about Stone Brewing, one of the greatest craft beer companies, in America. And then us starting Aces and Ales originally, and now Evolve Brewing in Vegas. So, and then we kind of just obviously have continued our friendship from that point,
Mhm.
more on a daily basis than pounding, chasing the rent basis,
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
that
it's just that it's interesting how our stories kind of just are woven together at a few different touch points along the way. And I think it's also really interesting is that same era when KK was at the rehearsal studios with his band, my partner in Stone Brewing was rehearsing at the studios with the band, and I met him, but his name's Steve Wagner, and that's who I started Stone with. I met him, but I really didn't get to know him in that era either. And we reconnected a few years later just by chance. And then that led to the starting of Stone. So, yeah, it's quite interesting how, the journeys that life takes you on.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So that I guess that you could say that rehearsal studio was a magic place.
now, what
Yep.
you
And
guys?
now instead of 20 rooms on on a 5-story building per floor, we've got we're around the corner, and it's 100 rooms per floor on 2 different floors of a 4-story building. So it's still going strong, and it's all about rock and roll, and that's why I started that in the first place, because I went to GIT back in the 80s, and I was a wannabe where KK was actually being. So the big difference, but that's where the all kind of converged, and so now I get to be a semi B. I'm still, but KK is still the B guy. Whatever. How do you describe this?
So when
So
you guys
that's the backstory.
when you guys reconnected, over the craft beer, uh, the love of craft beer. One, this is like when the craft beer thing was kind of like, I won't say in its infancy, but it definitely wasn't, I
It wasn't
think,
mainstream.
the
Yeah.
juggernaut that it is now. So, it wasn't like, you could just run into anybody and mention, craft beer and oh yeah, everybody's into it. But
Yeah.
did you guys connect musically as well then, or did that come later, with, the craft beer and talking about it and forming your
I
friendship about it?
remember, a guy by the name of Chris Cochran who worked with me, Stone. He had met KK previously on a visit when KK and Brandy had come down to visit the Stone Brewing World Bistro and Gardens in Escondido, and he was there having lunch one day, and I came out and met him, and we just fell in a conversation. I don't remember exactly, how that went, whether we, got into and figured out the rehearsal studio thing at that time or what it was. But KK was on his way to doing Aces and Ales, and was just super interested in getting into the beer side combo. And I, of course, was more than happy to do that too.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you guys have this friendship for many years,
Yeah.
and then Metal Warrior. How does that idea get started? Because it's not just a record. I mean, you have all these graphic novels, you have an
Yeah.
illustrator, there's a lot going on there. A record, you just write stories, but now you got to have something tied in with the storyline and a lot going on there. Uh, just how does that idea spark and where do you go from there?
Well, I could kind of jump in on this, and then Greg can continue it into the more of the stories and the comics, etc. But he had contacted me, and it's been a few years, to be honest, because this project it's a very big and vast project, as you know, which we'll dive into. But originally, it was we had the 4 characters, or he had the idea of the 4 characters, and he said, "Hey, can you do some like what we call like bumper music, which are like short little pieces, like 30-second, 1 minute, 60-second kind of pieces." For these characters, one guy's the bass guy and one's the drummer, and then blah blah blah, metal warrior, and I go, fuck yeah, that sounds cool. I'm like, I'll do it, at the studio at my house, And so I did these little bumper music pieces for these characters. And then I think Greg just had the idea that, they sounded rad and they were cool, to develop this more into what we have today. And it took time, like I said, into the comics, into full songs, which turned out to be the double album, which took a lot of time. But the original, germination of the whole thing was just these 4 little bumper music pieces that were for each character, drums, bass, guitar, the vocalist. And then Greg came up with this huge idea about building this universe and the comic book story, which is, the 9 books that we have coming out, which takes you on a whole journey, Pskydin's journey. But that's what it was. It's basically the bumper music. And then Greg wanted to develop it more. And I said, hell yeah, let's develop it. And here we are today, a few years later, to be honest with you. But Greg can talk more about the stories and things like that.
All right, now, Greg, correct whatever you need to correct that Keri just said. Is that true?
I'd say Keri got nearly all of it correctly. Which is that? Are you guys not used to that? Are you used to having to?
No. It's always good. So let me ask you this. I want to what Keri said. You had these characters, right,
Right.
in your head.
Well, I mean, I can elaborate just a little bit. So I had this crazy idea. I don't even know where it came from. The shower, rolling
Yeah.
over in the middle of the night. Who knows? And I thought it would be really cool to take inspiration from a lot of stuff out there, and whether it's a Star Wars or Guardians of the Galaxy or Guar or and just freaking one of the best metal shows you've ever been to. Put them all into a giant blender, mix it around, and add in our own DNA to it. So this guy by the name of Ben Fellows, he's an artist that I'd worked with very briefly at Stone. He did a guest art project for us at Stone. And I just really loved his art, and he was just a cool guy to work with. So I contacted him about this, and he was like all over it. He was just so enthusiastic about it. It was during the pandemic, and he honestly, I can remember now, he sent me an email back and he says, I wanted to thank you so much for this, because I have been in, not a good place during this pandemic, like so many people. And I'm just excited to have something like this to work on. So actually, this was in 21. That was 2020 when he did the guest art can. So we cooked up this together, created these 4 characters, and that's when I told KK about it, because we made him into a metal band that fights for righteous battles and travels the 5 galaxies, spreading the word of metal for righteousness. And there you go. We did the bumpers. I came in. He invited me up to his studios. We started, getting into the writing process and came up with those short versions that we both loved. I thought they were really great.
So, you come up with a story. Now, Keri, I mean, Greg, are you getting with Keri to, write music? Are you telling Keri, hey, I want something along these lines? Or Keri, are you submitting stuff? And Greg, are you then rearranging it to fit what you need? How does that songwriting process work where you take the music and blend it with the book?
I kind of think it's yes, 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 and yes. I mean, really, because there's no strict formulaic approach to it. Maybe most typically KK will send me a handful of riffs and some progressions and chord changes, all these ideas, and I'll start formulating, what story do we want the song to tell, or what angle, because all the songs are written by the band and from their perspectives as intergalactic characters.
Yeah.
And so it's channeling through us to do all this, and so we just get in and just start kind of cutting and pasting and piecing and finding out the flow and finding out how the lyrics will go and how the pieces of the story fit together.
The videos are insane. I mean, it's basically a movie. Those videos, you guys, I mean, they're fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you for the video compliment. I actually, not only is Jared Cotton, the guy who does the videos, an amazing storyteller when it comes to the visual medium, He's also a very good driver.
Driver.
Um, and
He's an Uber driver. He's
so
an Uber driver on
yep,
the side.
exactly.
Well,
So you just got a compliment on your video skills. Much appreciated.
what now, what I want to also
Yeah,
stress is,
Josh, I'm going to tell you about
yeah,
the songs because, and this ties into Night Ranger and things as well. But um, like Greg kind of said, like usually what I do when we go, because we got to find time to get together. Greg kind of, I live in Orange County, California, of course, and I'm out here in Vegas a lot. Greg's in Maui and San Diego and other places. So we got to kind of figure out how we can get 2 or 3 days to work on the song. So before that, I'll come up with like 3 or 4 ideas, and you don't make them whole songs like a 4 or 5 minute song, but maybe a 1 minute idea, and send them to Greg, and then he goes, "Oh man, I really like that song number 1 and 3. When we get together September 4th, let's like develop those, and then we kind of make them into, like you said, what songs do we need, what story do we need on those songs, but kind of that's how that goes." And even on the Night Ranger tip, for instance, because I know you guys are Night Ranger heavy over there. I see the poster in the background. It's kind of like the same thing, but it's a little bit different. I mean, like I'll have ideas and I'll send them to Jack, and then when I go to Jack's house, usually is where we do finish the writing. Jack and I, he'll go, "Wow, that one's really good," and let's work on those or whatever. But you'll have a bunch of little song ideas. But what's cool about this project, and I've said it in other podcasts we've done or interviews, is that when you're writing for Night Ranger, for instance, or Alice or whomever, Slash or this or that, you're kind of have that in your mind. Like, obviously Metal Warrior songs would not be fit for Night Ranger at all. I give him to Jack and he's gonna, what the fuck is this? So you're always thinking Night Ranger, you're the Alice or blah blah blah. But on this, I have the freedom to germinate, start these ideas as whatever I think kind of sounds rad. Then Greg kind of goes, "Wow, that one's really cool," or "That one's cool," and then we start developing it. So it's kind of like very liberating to do whatever. And that's why we come up with these songs that I think are interesting. We have some songs that are regular format, like 3 or 4 minutes, typical. Then we have these songs that are fucking 10-minute epics that take you on these journeys in the story and ups and downs and tempos and peaks and valleys. It's like whatever we want, whatever we think sounds cool, we do here. So for me, that's awesome.
and
Yeah.
I want to stress, like, listen, I've had this music for a while, and I didn't need a graphic novel or like a backstory to enjoy the music. It's not like
Yeah.
if you just got the CD, you're like, what the fuck are they talking about? Uh, you can enjoy the music just straight up.
Yeah.
But when I got the graphic novels and the actual physical copies, now it's like I'm intrigued. Like, okay, well, I've listened to Serenity 100 times.
Yeah.
How does it fit into here? So, like to me, it was an interesting concept to where I had music, I have it in my head what it means, and then all of a sudden you throw in, I guess like
Story.
a physical representation of the music, and now it's like, okay, well, I've listened to this song 100 times. I guess I've formed my own ideas about what that song meant, and now it's about this character, saving the galaxies, and now I got to dive into that.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and let me just tell you, I'm going to take this moment to tell you what an amazing songwriting partner KK is, and I really mean this. This is going to maybe even get a little bit awkward, and I apologize for that in advance. But you know, so back before I started the rehearsal studios in the '80s, when I gone to guitar school, I had dreams. I wanted to be in the rock and roll business. I wanted to be in a songwriter. But as a songwriter, and I did some decent stuff. I think it's okay. There's a few things I was proud of, and I would work with some different songwriting partners from time to time. But never did I have a situation like it is working with KK, because what's so unique for me with him is that he is such a go for it guy. So, I got that monkey brain a little bit. No, that sucks. That's probably going to be really stupid, all that kind of thing. KK, I don't know, either he hasn't done it or he doesn't got it, or he's learned how to tune it out for such a long time, you know, and which is great because I'll go, oh, okay, I was thinking about this. Like Pskydin's voice is, really, really low, but I do the vocals like that, I'm always going, serenity and such. I'm doing a super bad job right now, but I usually warm up a little bit first. But I'm like on this one song, I think Skydance should rap, and having that low voice and do a bit of a rap, it was very incongruous. Where does that belong in a metal tune? And KK was just like, "Let's go for it. Let's just start doing it. Here's the mic," and he would point to me, I put it right in my face, and we would just start doing it. And I love the result. I mean, it took some iterations, and it took us massaging it, figuring out where the cadence was and how the lyrics work. But I like this, and I also like that. Said we can do anything with the music. Back in the day, I would try and write these personal songs. Like if I was going to write a song about love, what would I write about? If I was going to write about this kind of thing, how would I do that? And it was always hard for me. But with these characters, I'm like, oh, if I want to write a song from the perspective of Pskydin and what he thinks about, how he feels after battle, it just flows for me. It just flows. It's just really easy for me to do that. So I've just learned that that's the kind of songwriter I am as a lyricist, and in song structure, telling stories, and that really segs to the graphic novels, is telling these stories.
And I think what I liked about the record, and it's kind of what Keri said, is you go in a lot of cool directions, right? You get straight up rock, you get these, I won't say like an opus, but you get something that's 8 minutes long where you're here, then you're there, and and it's different vocals. And you guys have I can't remember her name, but a female singer that
Yes.
Yeah.
that's
Queen Va
that's the character's name,
is the
correct?
character. Yeah, yeah,
All
yep,
right.
yep.
Well, not the character, but the real defender of the galaxy, Queen Va. And but it's like you get like a little bit like like an Evanescence. And I love that differential where it's like some bone crunching guitars, and all of a sudden you get this this beautiful voice singing, and then you get more crunching guitars, then you get like this demonic sound. And then, like I said, you got straight up rock, and then you got stuff that I don't want to compare to like Yes, but it's stuff to where you're just on a journey, and
Yeah.
okay,
It
where's
just
it?
works together. It all works together.
Yeah, I
um
mean, yeah, so, some of the songs, like especially the bigger songs, the 6, 8, 10 minute songs, the epics I call them, are like journeys, and yeah, more progressive rock or progressive metal or whatever, because they do have those such ups and downs, and it's like I said, it's so cool just to be able to do what we think is rad at the end of the day, instead of trying to fit on some format.
and what I like too is the like I've always been a vinyl guy. Even back in the late 80s, throughout the 90s, when it was great to be a vinyl guy, because hey, Led Zeppelin,
Yeah.
$3, cool. Now it's I can't go Led Zeppelin, $30. Ah, shit.
Yeah.
Uh, but I always liked vinyl, especially on all my classic records, because that's what the artwork was designed for, right? The artwork for Iron Maiden wasn't designed for a fucking little cassette or a CD. It was designed for vinyl. And when I got this in the mail, the Metal Warrior package you guys sent me, I'm surprised the fucking mailman didn't need a dock dolly for the vinyl, because I mean, it was,
Yeah.
as a
You
vinyl
know,
guy.
that's basically how that's how we do it. We come out of the gate with a trifold double album. It's like, who else is going to do that? But us, I guess. It's
With
people.
a 40, what is it, a 38 page, 46 page, full size insert
Yeah.
with, graphically intense with all the lyrics and everything. Yeah. So yeah, it's a
Well,
robust package.
that's what got me, like, where I was saying, I've had this music for a while, it's in my head, and then I get, this thing.
Yeah.
And
Oh my God.
thank God it's a lot of pictures, because I don't like to read. But
Yeah.
but it is, it's just awesome, and like So the album is broken up into like 4 chapters,
Yes.
which coincide with the graphic novels. But I mean, where's the chess piece one?
Loosely. That's the battle will be won. Yep.
Yeah, right here. I just thought this was the
Yeah.
and the whole book is like that. All right, just fantastic artwork, and we got a lot of vinyl guys on the page. You got like the red with the
Oh,
black
is that what
smoke.
you got the red one? Okay,
Yep.
cool. I was wondering which one you had because that I'm gonna talk about the album. So we have different colored splatters, of course, which are very cool. You got the red. I think we have yellow. And we have another green one, I believe, green and red splatter or something like that. And then, of course, what else do? We have a picture disc version. Yes, you can believe your ears. We have a double album picture disc version, as well as the CDs and the cassettes. If anybody owns a cassette, there's a CD, a cassette player. You can get a cassette. The only thing we could not find out how to do was an 8-track, but we didn't try too hard. But we have cassettes, various albums, and the CD. It's incredible.
Now, what is great, even with this, we just our prior episode that we had last week, we unboxed everything, opened this stuff up for the first time, and the CD. As much as I sometimes bitch about the artwork and stuff on the CDs, I mean, this was fantastic in itself. I mean, trifold has
Yeah.
the booklet. Now the CD does have a bonus disc that had different variations of songs and some without the vocals and all
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah.
you do got an incentive to get this. And I did see on Amazon where you could order the cassette. Cassettes are real big. I remember a couple years ago watching Ringo Starr on one of the late night shows, and they're asking him about physical media or something. And he's like talking like he basically said that the biggest seller he has is cassette tapes.
Oh my God.
So there you go. But listen,
I'm buying a cassette player just so I can play our cassette.
and listen, you need the vinyl, so you got the map of the 5 galaxies.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I was there last week. Um,
Oh, really? What corner of the 5 galaxies did you go to? And
well,
who
listen,
created the temporal rift, the time space dimension construct
well,
for you to get from here to there?
the temporal
I think that was after he took a couple of Eric Levy's pills.
Yeah, the temporal rift was when I was at Evolve and I had beer number 6,
Yeah.
the mango or the
Yeah.
grapefruit IPA.
There you
I
go.
drank about 3 of those and I ended up in the Braxinian cluster somewhere.
Okay, that would
Uh,
explain it. That would
So,
explain it.
Keri, you said that there's 3 different variants, color variants.
Yeah, I believe there's 3 different variants and the picture disc. So 4, literally picture disc.
You just quadrupled my spending. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, it's incredible. I mean, if we're gonna do something, we're just literally going all the
Sure.
way. You know what I mean? It's like, why not?
Well, what was great too about the record was so some of these songs were already available on YouTube, and I get the CD. I thought, okay, I already got my favorites. I got, Firestorm, Medicine, the crushed souls of our enemies.
Yeah.
And I put the CD in, and then right away it just tells me, slaps me in the face. It goes, no, your favorite song is Now We Belong. Uh, that's what I loved about the record was, okay, here, fuck, I thought I already had my mind made up that, okay, I have these songs that I've enjoyed for a year. Now I'm getting the new shit. And usually that's how it is with lots of, oh, I'm used to this. This new stuff I'll listen to, but I'm always going to go back to this. I mean, I got to go to HR tomorrow because I'm walking around the office going, pet the kitty, pet the kitty, kitty. uh, and, so thank you for that.
Yeah, maybe say the part of the lyric "slave to the kitty," just in your own mind. Don't say that outside, or the part where it says, "I'm gonna make you purr."
Well,
We're gonna do a remix of that song with gonna get my buddy Ralph from Steel Panther to do help us out on that one. That'll be our remix redone version. It'll be awesome.
Yeah.
yeah, what we're joking about is a great song on the record you got to get and
So
listen to. So, all right, let's talk about this. How
yeah,
many this is book number one. How many now listen, are there going to be like a 1 through 4, 1 through 9, or are they going to be based off
Yeah.
each character?
One through so what you've got there is the first issue of the story arc that we are calling Pskydin's Descent. And so Pskydin is the leader of the band, and what's on the cover there. And it's his story arc. It's from his youth, as an outcast, sent away, feeling abandoned, feeling rejected, abused, and all the things that sometimes we've all gone through some periods of in our life. Well, that was his reality for a very long time. And eventually, it descended as it can do into just anger and resentment, and then chaos and revenge, and really just focused on that. So he kind of went to the dark side, let's call it. And so so that, and then eventually he comes out. I don't want to give away the end of the story, but that's what that story arc is all about. It's all about, and also included in that is how he and the other band members first originally met. Will happen in that story arc. So it's 9 issues, and then there's one standalone issue that's called "Getting the Band Back Together," which is in a very different era for them, but it establishes and helps us understand just who the characters are. Feel a little bit about them, and it's an adventure that they go on in that one. It's just a standalone 1 issue story.
And what's great about these is you get the graphic novel, excellent artwork in each,
Yeah.
but each one, if you look here on the back, custom label, and each one comes with a 45
Look
with
at
the
that.
custom label, which this one is Heavy
Battle.
Crown, and the battle will be won.
Yeah, man.
And
Right.
now tell me if this we were when we did the unboxing last week. I was a few graphic novels in, and I was like flipping. I think through this one, book three, and I'm flipping through it, and I'm like, "There's a lot of purple in this book, Dave. This is a very purple heavy book." And then we get back to the vinyl, and I just kind of noticed, like, okay, book
Like we
four.
planned it.
Yep. So I don't like I said, I don't know how planned it is, but like with this, look, there's a lot of pink and bright colors in book one. There we go. Uh so and that's what I think collectors really enjoy is stuff like this. It's not repetitive. Here's book
Yeah.
two.
Yeah.
Just for the record, we don't do pink. That's just the color of Orphanian goo, which is a rather special kind of goo from
or
Orphanian, the
or
planet. So, but we don't do pink. Just for the record, I want you to get that straight.
listen,
Okay.
listen, that's the color of malachite blood, isn't it?
Yeah, there you
No,
Um,
that's a different color.
Different color?
Malachite, yeah, malachite, but it's actually more of a pure red, even though they're green on the outside.
Uh,
On the inside, they're very blood red.
well, Nadelman, I just lost $5 to you because
You
that's
did.
exactly
You
what
did.
Nadelman.
You can send me a check.
So so
speaking of the comics, Josh, it's just so and the people out there will know. On those, Greg is obviously in San Diego right now, and he's at Comic-Con, which is a huge comic festival people probably know about, going on down there in San Diego this week. Our partner on the comics is Josh Bernstein, and he has Z2 Comics. If you want to go z2.com, but they do a lot of the great rock and roll comics and graphic novels and all that kind of stuff. All the Lemmy stuff and the Bruce Dickinson and I mean everybody that's in
Priest, Anthrax.
yeah,
I mean, so many of our heavy heroes,
yeah.
and just seminal bands. Yeah, so it's an honor for us just to be on the same roster, with them. So yeah, we were thrilled when Z2 wanted to work with us, and we're like, oh, wait a minute. So if you're displaying on a big table, some of your different artists, we're sitting next to Priest and Iron Maiden.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, yeah, we're very happy about that. Yes, but you could Josh Bernstein's a great guy and a great partner, and his company is awesome. Like I
Well,
said, Z2 guys can check it out, z2.com.
me too.
Or you've probably seen him. I think he has a lot of video shows that he does and stuff.
Mhm.
But we're glad to be partnered with him on the comic side.
So with, you speaking of like the comic side, the Z2 and everything, we're coming from like the music part of it, right? Me and Dave have found Metal Warrior
Yeah.
because of the music. How is it being received on the graphic novel side, the art side? With the comic cons and stuff, who people are finding Metal Warrior through that avenue and the music second. Just how's that? I know you guys have done some comic cons and everything. Just how's that world and how accepting has it been of Metal Warrior?
For people that have been exposed to it, they're loving it. We do get the very common question, wait a minute, is this a music project or is this a graphic novel project? And the answer is yes. So it's a little tough because people just want to put you in the most familiar box that they can because they've got this mental file folder. I get it totally, So it's like the very typical question when you've got music, it's like, well, who do you sound like? And any musician generally likes to go, well, I don't really love that question because it just feels, a little limiting. So you know, it's we don't care how anybody discovers it. It can be through the videos on YouTube and going, wow, these videos are just like incredibly visually stunning, and clearly there's a storyline that goes through them. That's in fact, we've got multi parts. So one song video leads into the storyline of the next song. Leads into the storyline. You're actually seeing an adventure of mayhem and recovery, and all this kind of stuff that the band goes through in the music video. So it's hard to answer the question, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
That's kind of why I'm just dancing around and painting a picture here.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and another thing on top of that, Josh, Dave, uh, you might not even know too much about this, but a couple of weeks ago we were at the NFT convention, the eighth annual in New
Hmm.
York.
Yeah.
They had 20,000 participants, all these special parties and, I mean, PayPal, Coinbase, Robinhood, all the big companies that are into crypto and stuff is there because the NFTs are very tied into crypto. And we had an event that was sanctioned by them as well, which was awesome. And we released our own NFTs. So I don't know if cool kids know about it. I'm learning about it and I do know about it now, but so NFTs, we're getting into that world. We're dabbling into crypto tokens coming out soon. Uh,
No, it was launched last night.
oh my God, last night, see, I
It,
new
it,
information that I didn't even know. Jesus.
yeah, see, we launched the coin last night, and sorry, KK, because we haven't had a chance to even talk to each other today. Now it was locked down secret, and only I and the guy launching it even knew because he's like, this
Obviously.
word cannot get out because otherwise you have a rug pull and like nefarious stuff happens. So you literally tell nobody exactly when it's happening, and I didn't know. I found out an hour after launch.
Gotcha.
So
So there you go. So I just found out now. So we have, yeah, crypto tokens. So we got to get Brad Gillis to buy some of those. We've got the NFTs, we've got the comics, we got the huge story, we've got the double trifold album cassette. We have friggin' everything.
So the album's out July 25th. Where do people go to buy the record, the CD, the cassette, the graphic novels? Obviously, they can go to Amazon, but is you guys going to have all this up on metalwarrior.com?
yeah, you can go direct to metalwarrior.com. You can also go to your favorite record store. There's a bunch of record stores that are pre-ordering and will have it in stock. If you're thinking your premier heavy record stores that got a reputation for the heavier music, they likely will have it in stock. You can order it from any record store. So, hey, support your local record store. Absolutely. And wait a couple of days and they'll get it in for you, which is great. So, however you like to get your music, you can get it that way, and of course, then the streamers too.
Mhm.
Is the Amazon going to be a different version than what you're selling on the website? Or, I mean,
It's the same one.
okay, it's the
It's
same
the
kind of
same one.
box. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe all the formats should be there on Amazon and things like that. And then of course the digital services, the iTunes and everything, it's up over there and
Mhm.
Spotify and etc.
And on the website, there's stickers, shirts,
Yeah.
a whole bunch of other things as well. I have those sitting here. Uh,
There you go.
uh, so I don't know how the
I got a mute on you.
Josh, you got muted.
There you go. Come back on.
can you hear me?
Is that mic in your pocket or just happy to see me?
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Uh-oh. Oh, can
Turn
you
that
hear
mic
me?
on.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you hear me? All right. All right. That's a first. Usually it's you guys. Um, so I don't know how the Metal Warrior story ends, if they save the five galaxies or not. But let's say they do, and somehow Palpatine comes back. The bad guy is. Will Metal Warrior make a return to save the universe again in the future?
Well,
We're already working on the sophomore release. It's going to be a triple album.
Well, that's what I like to hear, and the more music, the better. Uh, Greg, Keri, I want to say thank you for joining us. Dave, I'm giving you the last word here. You got
Yeah,
something you want to
man.
ask
Say
him?
something.
I do want to ask, so who is that female vocalist?
uh,
Because she's
yeah.
incredible.
That's
She is
Queen. That's
Isn't
Queen
incredible.
isn't
Va.
she?
Queen Va.
Isn't she? So I'm going to tell you. I'll tell you. It's my wife, and there's only one reason why my wife is singing in the band, and you can probably guess why. It's because if if we weren't together, there's no way she would have said yes.
She's
Fair enough.
she's a
She
phenomenal singer.
Yeah.
she is amazing. She actually has a background in musical theater, which is perfect for the very storytelling kind of approach. Um, and she really just understands that. But she's not done heavy music in the past. And it was kind of funny, quick little story here. It's like when we KK, and I did those first little 60-second things. I asked her if she wanted to sing on it and see, sort of audition. And she decided to give it a try and said, "Look, if it doesn't work out, we just got to be okay with that. I know you're a singer, but So anyway, she worked on it a few days and came back. She says, "Okay, I'm ready." And I put her on the backing track, and she started singing, and it was awful. It was horrible. And I'm just like, "Oh man, okay, sweetheart, sorry. Just not gonna work. I appreciate you trying." And it was okay. And then a few days later, she was just randomly singing to herself in the kitchen. And I bolted out of my chair and I walked right over to her and I'm like, do that. That is what we need on the track. And she's like, well, this is just my normal singing voice. Because when she did the previous version, she was trying to cop, I don't know what she thought like a heavy metal female singer should be like. And I'm like, no, don't worry about it. It's going to sound great. You do you. We'll bring the tracks that KK and I work on and the lyrics and all this kind of stuff, and it's going to work great. And thanks for the compliment because I think it does work
It's
great.
it's Amy. It's like you're listening to Amy Lee or something from Evanescence. I mean, that's what I'm getting.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great.
And
I
so
think
it's just that pure thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
and what's cool, about it as well is you guys have talked about and what we're talking about right now is you have Greg, the three different voices. We're like the Beatles, we're like the heavy metal Beatles or something like that. So you have Greg doing his vocals, if you however your vocal stylings, which is kind of like the scary guy we call it, the low voice, gravelly, and then you have me on there. You're kind of more normalish sounding, I guess. And then you have Sarah, which is awesome. So it's cool to have all those three elements and sometimes all three in one
In one
song.
song. Yeah.
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 I
Yeah,
think we're more like the heavy metal Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah, it could
there you
be.
go. Uh, well, when I saw when I figured out who was all performing it, I see Greg. I'm like, well, he's definitely. I could just tell by looking at him, he's got an angelic voice, like. And
Yeah.
then like I got a song, and I knew what I mean, it didn't have the female singer, it didn't have Greg's voice. I'm like, I sent Keri a message like, who's this singing? He's like, me. And I'm like, I was a little
Okay.
bit,
Well,
I was a little bit surprised. Who knew Keri could sing so well, except for maybe Greg. But yeah, like I said,
yeah.
it's a great,
KK is amazing. At the very beginning, he floated a different singer. I won't say who. KK, you can if you want, but who's a noted, amazing range, just like amazing quality singer. And I'm like, I thought he was great, but KK brought the right voice to Metal Warrior. It's KK's voice. It's just like Sarah. Just do KK, do your thing. It's great. I think it's working really well, and I think the album has proved me right because it is great.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's, Greg, it's one of those weird things, and I could totally dig it, and thank you very much. But like that huge song that what's his name had, Carlos Santana, with the guy from Matchbox 20 singing. That guy sent him a demo on that, and it was just for him to, to get another singer to do it, whatever. And Carlos is like, no, this is fucking awesome. A song called Smooth. He's
Smooth.
like, you
Yeah.
sound great on this. You're singing. He goes, no, this is just a song submission. I'm not singing on it. And Carlos is like, yes, you are. This is fucking great.
If
And
it works,
obviously-
if it works, yeah. And
Yeah,
that was the smartest decision ever.
well,
yeah,
I think,
it turned out to like revive his career, like huge, So
I think when I got the CD, again, listening to some of these songs for the first time, I think it was Heavy Crown. That's when I was like, I already thought Keri, like your vocals on Medicine and were great. But when I heard like Heavy Crown, and hopefully I'm thinking of the right song, I was like, oh shit, like, sometimes you can cover up shit with loud guitars. And this one you could, wasn't as loud, and I was
yeah,
like,
you're out on your
your
own.
own. And I was like, all right, you know what? He pulled it off.
Wait till you hear the new Night Ranger record. I have 5 songs on it. I'm singing.
Well, that's
Me and Jack.
that's what we all want to hear.
Oh, that's great.
All right, guys. Now listen,
Okay.
go to
Well,
metalwarrior.com, go to Amazon, go to your local independent record stores. You go in
and
there.
I would say, sorry to interrupt you. This is Tim Piles, the mayor of local music here in San Diego.
I like the
Yeah.
shirt, man. Look at the shirt.
DJ
Yeah.
forever. And I'm getting off of this podcast. I'm going on to his podcast. So anybody that's watching and listening to this, now you know where to seg to continue the story. All the questions we didn't cover, we'll cover in a minute. But anyways, I just want to say hey to my brother. And
Unless you're a Dodgers fan, then get lost.
Hey,
But Greg, Keri, thank you for joining us. Metal Warrior, Amazon, metalwarrior.com, all your independent local record stores.
me too.
That place too. And listen, people always complain there's no good music out there. No, nothing new. Here it is. We're bringing it to you. Enjoy it, guys. Thank you very much for
Thank you,
joining
guys.
us.
All right, man.
thank you.
Guys, we appreciate it.
Feeling bold with nice desires for so